What's up guys, Noah from Stage 3 Motorsports here, and today we're bringing you a video that's a little different than what we usually do, and it's going to be our top 3 favorite Tacoma builds from the SEMA show. Now, as you guys maybe have noticed, we've started pushing into Toyota Tacoma a little bit with some aftermarket mods on the site, so if you haven't seen that, definitely go check it out on our webpage. But today we're going to be taking a look at some of these builds, and I wanted to kick it off with this one sitting here at Best Stop. What Best Stop has is a 2017 Toyota Tacoma in this awesome kind of tan desert sand color, and it has some classic sort of Toyota colors on the side with the orange and black. I really just like the look of it overall, but as far as what it has for mods, it's sitting on Bilstein suspension with Deaver springs in the back and a JBA upper control arm in the front. It looks like a pretty modest amount of lift. I'm guessing not more than 2 inches on here. And then as far as wheels and tires are concerned, we're looking at 305/70/17 Toyo Open Countries that are wrapped around 1552's analog HD wheel. That wheel can be a little bit controversial. I know not everybody loves the old steely look, but I will say that it is one of my favorites, so that definitely caught my eye with this truck, and it's perfect with the desert tan and everything. It's very classic, very understated, but definitely a good fit for the truck. Now, in terms of other mods, this thing is covered in Baja Designs lighting. There's LP9s, we've got S8s, little S2 pods. There's literally lights on all corners of the thing, up on the rack, everywhere. Baja Designs lighting is great. The LP9s are a good fit for the front too, with that classic round style instead of chest light bars on there. I like when they tend to move away from the standard square light bar look. They've also got Best Top Super Top over the bed, which is a folding cover, which is a little different than some of your standard hardtop bed camper shells. It gives you the ability to drop it down and use the pickup bed like a pickup, as well as have that coverage when you need it for storage. They also have one of their Tuffy boxes back there to lock everything down. Makes for a pretty basic utilitarian setup where you could throw camping gear, you could throw work equipment, you could throw tools, whatever you need in the back of this thing, and you're gonna have a convenient way to store it. Now, a few unique things about the truck. We don't usually dive into interiors a whole lot, but I like that they reupholstered the inside of this thing so the leather all matches the outside of the truck and has that tan with some brown accents. And then even more unique is the actual 5-speed transmission that this truck is running. The second Tacoma I've got lined up for you guys is this Voodoo Blue TRD Pro that Rhinorack threw together. I love the color. This is one of my favorite ones that Toyota brought back from the FJ Cruiser. It looks great on this truck, and obviously with Rhinorack's branding being blue, it makes a lot of sense that that's what they ran with. But we're starting at the back of this truck because all the accessories and stuff are kind of just piled in. I mean, you can see everything that's thrown on here, but basically, as far as accessories are concerned, we're looking at a CBI rear bumper with the dual rear swing outs, and then they've got the little tray tables that drop down on the insides. Obviously, we've got a deck drawer system in here, which is really similar to what you'll actually see in our Ranger build that we were working on. And then, of course, Rhinorack's bed rack system with their bike mounts, their jerry can mount. We've got a high lift on there, and then up top on the roof, they're running their backbone system with the Pioneer tray, which is also pretty similar to what we have on our Ranger that we did. Now with that, there's obviously a bunch of accessories on the Pioneer tray as well. They're showing off every single mount that they make, but it is really cool on this to see how much versatility there is, and obviously the build just looks neat with a mountain bike on there, jerry can, first aid kit. It looks like it's ready for adventure. Kind of appreciate that they didn't put a tent on it just because there's so many Tacomas with tents here. It's nice to see something that's a little bit varied on that. Now, as for the rest of the build, it's sitting on Icon 2.5 coilovers and rear shocks with the remote reservoirs, and then they match that up to blacked out Icon 17-inch wheels and 295/70/17 mud terrains from BFG. It's got a pretty mean stance. A lot of those are pretty similar specs that you'll see on a lot of Tacomas. It's fairly modest for what it is, but this is still a truck that's going to get places. The BFGs are a good look on there too, something different from a lot of the all-terrains that you see on Tacomas. A mud terrain's a good fit for it. It's also worth pointing out that they matched up the rear bumper with the front, which is CBI's little lower bumper insert, and that's a little different than just a full-blown full front bumper replacement. It basically just swaps out the plastic chin on these trucks. Really clean, pretty factory looking. At first I almost didn't even notice that they changed anything up front, but I do like the look a lot. The third Tacoma build we've got lined up for you guys is this white Seabond Carbon Overland style build here that is kind of unique in that obviously Seabond Carbon isn't usually the first brand that comes to mind when you think about off-road performance or overland style builds. This truck features their hood as well as their fender flares. It's also sitting on these 18-inch Graham lights from Ray's wheels, and then they've got some Falcon Wild Peaks wrapped around that as well. all that together kind of shows where Seabond Carbon normally is in the market, and even the Super Street stickers and stuff are a bit of a giveaway with the kind of vehicles they typically work on, but I do really like to see it on this Tacoma. It's definitely kind of sets it apart from the rest of the crowd here. Now, as far as some other mods, it's got some Eibach Pro Kit leveling springs up front, as well as the Eibach shocks in the back. Then we've got Relentless Fabrication front bumper, rear bumper, bed rack, and then the Tepui fold-out tent on top of that. Up top, we've got the front runner roof rack with the Baja Designs S8 bar across there. They've also got some Yeti coolers and little toolboxes and things strapped up with those long-range antennas to really just kind of fill out the rest of that overland feel for this build, and I think it pulled together great. Now, there's a lot of overland Tacomas here and a lot of overland builds in general at the SEMA show. Obviously, that's kind of the trendy thing right now, but I do think that this one did a good job of kind of sticking out a bit and see a very similar trucks, and that carbon fiber and the raised wheels are probably my favorite touches just because they are so different. So guys, that is going to be a wrap on our top 3 favorite Tacoma builds from SEMA. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and definitely give us some comments. Let us know what you think about these trucks, and I'll see you next time.